Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into one of Scotland's most baffling cold cases. We're heading to Nairn, a small, usually quiet town.
Mm-hmm.
Picture it. Sunday night, late November 2004. A typical family evening. Alistair Wilson, he's a 30-year-old bank manager, husband, dad, upstairs reading his two little boys a bedtime story.
Yeah, sounds perfectly normal, peaceful even. But then there's a knock at the door, and that peace is just shattered.
Completely. And this wasn't random. It was, bizarre. Targeted. An act of violence that nearly 20 years on, police are still struggling to understand.
Absolutely. So today we're going to try and unravel some of the really deep contradictions in this case.
Okay, let's start right there at the doorstep, because this is where things go from ordinary to just weird.
Right.
Alistair's wife, Veronica, she answers the door.
Right.
There's a man standing there, stocky build, maybe, 30s, 40s. He just asked for Alistair Wilson by name.
And Veronica didn't feel alarmed at this point?
Apparently not. She goes upstairs to get Alistair.
Okay, and this next part is where it gets deeply strange. Alistair comes down, talks to this man for, 3 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, about that. Then Alistair comes back upstairs. Alone.
Right, alone. And he's holding something.
Yes, an envelope. A blue envelope, like a greeting card size. And it's got the name Paul written on it. But here's the thing, it's empty.
Empty. And Alistair's reaction.
Veronica says he looked completely confused.
Yeah.
Bewildered. Like, what is this?
Okay, so he's confused, holding this empty envelope.
And then he goes back downstairs, back to the door, for his second conversation.
Wait, he went back? Why? That seems incredibly risky or just odd.
Exactly. Why go back? Veronica's still upstairs. Then she hears these sounds. 3 loud bangs. She described them like wooden crates falling.
Oh, no.
She rushes down and finds Alistair on the doorstep. He'd been shot 3 times. The man was gone. And so was that blue envelope.
Just vanished. Wow. Okay, so the immediate clues. What did the police have?
Well, 10 days later, they find the gun. It was ditched in a drain maybe half a mile away.
And the weapon itself.
Get this. It's an antique German pistol. A Handelsschmeiser Model 1, made back in the 1920s.
An antique gun. That's unusual for, an execution-style killing like this sounds.
Right. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. The bullets inside the gun were modern, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
From the 80s or 90s.
So old gun, new ammo. That's quite a mix.
And it was wiped totally clean. No fingerprints, no DNA, nothing.
Okay, so that suggests someone who knew what they were doing, forensically aware, but using that specific, very old gun, it feels theatrical almost.
Definitely contradictory. And then there's the envelope, blue, empty, marked Paul, gone, a prop, mistaken identity. But he asked for Alistair by name.
So mistaken identity seems unlikely. Maybe, like part of some kind of deal gone wrong, a coded message.
Could be. But here's a major point of confusion. Early on, a senior police officer actually said something like, Alistair didn't open the envelope because he already knew what was inside.
But that completely contradicts what Veronica said about him being bewildered.
Totally. It raises massive questions, doesn't it? Did Alistair know more? Was there something going on his wife knew nothing about?
For years, like 18 years, the investigation really focused on his job, right, at the Bank of Scotland. There were those HBOS scandals later on.
Yeah, lots of speculation there. But the police always publicly said, he was squeaky clean. Nothing untoward found in his banking work.
Okay, but then a huge shift. April 2022, everything changed.
It really did. Police suddenly announced they believed the motive wasn't work-related at all. It was personal.
Personal? How so?
A planning dispute. Believe it or not.
A planning dispute? Seriously?
Yeah. Alistair had formally objected to a big wooden deck being built at the pub right across the street, the Havelock Hotel.
Okay. Timing.
His objection was made public at the hotel just 72 hours before he was killed.
72 hours?
Yeah.
Wow. But, a planning objection leading to this, a doorstep execution with an antique gun and a mysterious envelope, it feels?
Disproportionate. Wildly so, right? How does a common neighborhood disagreement escalate to murder? It just seems off.
It really does. But are the police serious about this line of inquiry? Have they found anything concrete?
Well, they seem to be. They interviewed the old landlord of the Havelock Hotel, who's now in Canada. He's considered a witness.
Okay.
And there's apparently a local guy, a regular at that pub, who was reportedly known for having guns. He was jailed for something else, drugs, I think. And police have apparently identified him as a person of interest.
A person of interest, right.
They also now think maybe 2 people were involved in the shooting itself.
Yeah.
And they did find a partial DNA sample somewhere along the line, but Current tech can't get a full profile from it yet. Anyway.
So threads are appearing, but still nothing solid tying it all together convincingly, especially that motive.
And through all this, the family. For 16 years, they were silent. Then in 2020, Alistair's son, Andrew, spoke out. He was only 4 when his dad was killed.
That must have been incredibly hard.
Yeah, he talked about growing up without his father and also having to defend his mom from, nasty local gossip. Just awful.
And their relationship with the police.
That completely broke down. They filed a formal complaint in December 2023. Apparently, a senior detective told Veronica an arrest was imminent, then just canceled it. No explanation.
Oh, that's terrible. You can understand why their trust would be shattered.
Absolutely. And it led to something huge. September 2024, Scotland's very top law officer ordered a complete reinvestigation. Operation Sabine, it's called.
A complete reinvestigation. Wow. So basically admitting the previous work wasn't good enough.
Pretty much. New team, new eyes, a public portal for information. It's a massive undertaking trying to rebuild trust, and we'll finally solve this. For you listening, it really shows how these complex cases can twist and turn, even decades later.
Yeah. So we're left with these stark contradictions. The clean living family man murdered in such a calculated, almost staged way.
The antique gun, the modern bullets wiped clean.
Yeah.
The vanishing blue envelope with Paul on it.
And this planning dispute motive that just feels too small somehow for the scale and nature of the crime.
The biggest question after all this time is just, why the silence? Someone killed Alistair Wilson. Maybe someone helped them.
Why has that secret been kept in Nairn or wherever the killer is for 20 years? Fear, loyalty, it's hard to fathom.
Operation Sabine feels like maybe the last real chance for answers. Someone knows about Paul. Someone knows about that old German pistol.
Let's hope after 2 decades of silence, they finally decide it's time to speak up. The family deserves that much.